Well, I think we can go ahead and get things kicked off. Good morning or good afternoon or potentially good evening, everyone. Glad to have you join us. This is our second installment of our ongoing Lunch and Learn series, which features different GTE Forms customers uh, kind of showing off the solutions that they've created. And today it's focused on PNM Resources, leading energy provider down in the Southwest US, headquartered out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. And our presenter this morning or this afternoon is Ramon Trujillo. I'm going to go ahead and hand this over to Ramon here in just a moment, but I just wanted to, for any of you that are not familiar with Gideon Taylor, we've been involved in helping organizations implement powerful, intelligent, integrated solutions inside their PeopleSoft systems for the last 20 years, helping them do things that Oracle and PeopleSoft uh, doesn't deliver out of the box, and helping them dramatically extend and expand the functionality of their PeopleSoft systems, enabling them to create their own configuration-based, workflow-enabled fluid solutions for self-service for students, faculty, staff, managers, vendors, parents, anybody in your broader community that your company serves or that works within your company. You can create some really powerful solutions using GTE Forms. Beyond that, we provide a full host of PeopleSoft services to help organizations implement, upgrade, and optimize their applications, their systems, move them to the cloud, and prep for whatever the next generation of their ERP solutions might look like. I should also mention that we have Seth Norris joining us this afternoon as well. Seth was involved in the creation of the eForms that Ramon is going to be showing off here in just a moment. And Seth is a lead technical analyst on our team. So good morning, Seth. Thanks for joining. What you're going to see here is a really smart, and I think that's actually an acronym that you guys use, Ramon, a smart performance evaluation system that PNM Resources originally implemented a couple of years ago. They've recently added a second eForm to the process. So what Ramon's going to be walking through is an example of a multi-stage collaborative performance review process between employees and managers that PNM Resources uses, as well as a new part of that solution that allows for roundtable ratings of employees. So getting a group of managers together and allowing for them to discuss and modify ratings that have been made during the employee review process. It is a mass action form that allows for them to modify ratings on multiple employees from one page. So it's a really cool solution. We're pretty excited to see it as well this morning. So with that, Ramon, I'll go ahead and hand it over to you.
Hello, all. My name is, Scott said, my name is Ramon Trujillo, and I'm with PNM Resources. I'm going to start sharing my screen here in a second. There we go. Let me know when you all can see. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. Oh, and I should also mention before you get going, Ramon, if anybody has any questions during the session today, feel free to pose those in the chat or in the Q&A. We're more than happy to respond to those as we go along.
Cool. So let's start off. As Scott mentioned earlier, I'm with PNM Resources. I'm the lead HRIS analyst with PNM Resources. We're headquartered in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We have about 1,700 employees, 2,500 contractors. We're an electric generation, transmission, and distribution company. We have approximately 525,000 customers in New Mexico, and these are residential customers. And then we have 260,000 customers in Texas. Along with that, we sell electricity to states all over the Southwest, Arizona, Utah, other utilities in New Mexico and in Colorado, even some out in California. Currently, we are on PeopleTools 858.1 or .10, I should say. We currently run PeopleSoft 9.2, Image 41, and we are running HCM, Financials, ELM, and CRM. We are on GTE Form 3.30.04, and we are getting ready to start a project to upgrade PeopleTools to 8.6, the latest version of the PUM for PeopleSoft on all these different modules, and then also upgrading to the latest version of GT 3.58, which will be starting that now in January. So as Scott mentioned, we have two forms we're going to be looking at today. One is a performance plan, what we call the performance plan. These are individual employee performance plans that we developed a few years ago with Gideon Taylor. And then flowing over to that, we have a part of our process for performance reviews is we do a peer review, what we call roundtables. Essentially what that is the managers of a particular business area, managers all the way up to directors, whatever, they get in a room and they discuss all the individual employees and get input on those employees from other managers that may be working with them but don't directly supervise them, to ensure that they full input is provided for each of the employees. So we'll be going over the performance plan and the performance roundtable form on how those work. A little bit of what we did. Leadership really wanted an alternative to the performance management form that was delivered by PeopleSoft. I'm sure many of you have had frustrations with it over the years. Back in 2019 is when we worked with Gideon Taylor to develop this. The performance plan was the initial implementation. The roundtable form basically replaced Excel spreadsheets and manual update of forms. So in the past, what we would do is we would build these roundtable forms in Excel and then hand them out to these different roundtables that were going around the organization. They'd update those roundtables, and then the manager would have to log back in, go in, and update if there was any changes to a person's evaluation. So we've changed that, and it's all in PeopleSoft, no longer having to build Excel spreadsheets or anything like that. Other forms that we currently run is OSHA COVID reporting. We have an employee referral form, career assessment forms, leave of absence request form, and we have several others that are in the queue to be moved into hopefully here in the near future. So we'll jump right into it. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask as we go along. We developed the performance plan, and this particular performance plan solution is just really a interactive plan where the employee creates their plan, and then the manager can add notes or add comments to the plan and be interactive both ways, right? Anytime an employee adds information, they can add, the manager can see it, and vice versa. So it's really interactive. It was intended so that the management and the employee can have a communication on their plan throughout the year. So I'll go ahead and jump into the form and give me 1 second. So we have the form as part of our HR eForms. It's called the performance plan. Every employee would come in, and then obviously you all know, depending on what your role is in the organization, you would have several different links here. And I'll go over both the creation for the employee side of it and then the manager review side of the performance plan. On our landing page, we have basically just a little bit of information on what we believe, our cultural beliefs here, some stuff on what we call powering change. And then as Scott admitted, we have some what we call SMART goals as an acronym. and with links to what those are, how to create your management plan. We have user guides and videos that this links out to on our internal intranet. Essentially, the employee comes in, creates their plan, and this particular form is a 5-page form, as you will see. And we have 3 different individual forms. One is for non-union employees. We have a separate form for one of our particular unions that we have. We have 2 unions in our organization, and then a third one for the other union that we have. The way that we developed this form is that this initial page is what we call our setup page. The setup page is what the employee is going to use to set up their plan for the year. The first part of the page is what we call our required goals. So these are all part of the plan that are required by the company. So those are automatically added to everybody's individual plan. And then on the bottom, we have individual goals. And these individual goals, employees can choose which ones they want to add to their plan. They can choose one, they can choose all of them, whatever they want. And that's essentially selecting the plans that they want, what they want to add to the plan. Once those are selected, those will be added. So they, like I said, there's multiple pages to our plan. They select next. And they come into each of those particular ones. And in this particular form, we have what we call development goals. We have competencies, and then we have performance goals. So in here, the employee can add some wording in here that they would like to add, and they do individually all the way through. And I'm not going to add words to every single one. It just would take too much time. And as you can see, employee self-assessment only shows up right now. So they could come and add what they're going to add to each of their plans, give what their plan is for each of these particular goals. They select next. These are our competencies, what we call our competencies. Words can also be added here, added to what they're going to be working on throughout the year. The same thing. These are all both the required and any of the ones that they decided to add to their plan. And then we have our development plan. So once they're done, if you notice here, we don't have anything for ratings or anything like that. And you'll see how this how this form changes over time and how we use it. So once the employee's done, they can hit save and come back and add more stuff to it. Once they're done with their plan, they click save and notify the employee or the manager. I'm sorry. So the form was sent over to the manager. So the manager would receive an email with a link. And I'm just going to go in because I don't feel like looking for the email. They would. And here's the one that was created. Here's all the ones that have submitted for this particular manager at that time. And kind of the same thing. They can come in and see the different ones that they added. The manager can also add in to their plan and say like, oh, I think that you need to work on career development, and add it to their plan. Down here, you can see on the bottom where we, like I said, it's an interactive, and what we like to do is that the manager and the employee have discussions throughout the year. So down here on the bottom, it allows them to choose yes, and then enter a date to notify that they did have that conversation with them. Click on next. Now, as you notice, when we were originally entering, you could see that there was only employee self-assessment, and you can see what was added in there. Here's where the manager could add goals or instructions or whatever they'd like to add into it. We'll go through this quickly. And as again, you can see there's no ratings on the form at this point. They can come in. So once they come to the final part of the form, they can save, just like Axel, approve the initial plan, or just save and notify. Save and notify is just going to notify the employee that they added some comments to the plan. But the approve initial plan means, okay, they agree with everything that the employee has put in, and they approve the initial plan, and that then notifies the employee that their plan has been approved for the year. Like I said, the employee and the manager can go in and out of this plan and add stuff all year long, and go back and forth, send, notify the manager or notify the employee that new stuff has been added. The manager can go back in and look at what was added. So it's really interactive throughout the year. Once we get to what we call the year-end process, and I'll have to set up a date here just so it'll turn on the ratings for the employees. Whoops. And finalize process. Change this to here. Okay. So we now turn on the ratings. We'll just quickly go through this because I know we only have about 12 minutes left, and I'd like to show you the other form that we utilize. Okay, so now you can see they can come in here and finalize their plan, put in whatever they'd like to for the year, choose their rating for each of the different goals that they have, and we'll quickly skip here to the last page. And if you remember, initially we had performance goals, competencies, and development goals. Once the employee ratings have been turned on, there'll be a new page added, which is the employee's final year-end comments and an overall rating that they can put in for that. Once they hit save and notify, they go back to the manager, notify the manager that they've entered in their final ratings. And to go back in real quick and just show you what the manager sees. Whoops. So now you can see where the manager can see what the employee rated themselves, and now they have they're rating that employee for each particular goal, and then final year ratings. Once the employee saves this and submits it, they are now locked out of this form, and the manager is going to finalize their form for the end of the year. So that is our employee performance ratings table or form. Any questions at this point? Nope. Okay. So lastly, as we had discussed, Yes.
Ramon, I'm sorry. We do have a question in the queue. Um, this is great. I agree. Delivered PeopleSoft performance is not ideal, and we do not use for that reason as well. Even with all this, what tactics do you employ to get your managers to actually come in and complete the tasks? Any system capabilities to think about?
So we develop notifications. So we have timelines, obviously, that um, that managers and employees, right? Employees have, let's say, to a certain date, let's say November 15th, to put in all their information. And then we have usually December 1st for the manager to come in. And we have dates starting on at particular times that we build notifications that read the forms to say, oh, this manager hasn't filled this form out, and it'll notify them that they have until let's say December 15th to enter in the form, and they'll get. The way we did it is once we whatever our timeline is, let's say it's December 1st to December 15th to get the final ratings in. Um, they'll get an email every 3 days basically that say you haven't filled this out. But we do also, our learning and development team throughout the year monitor what plans have been created, if there's been any, what if it's been approved, it's not been approved. Usually our plans have to be approved by March 31st, so they'll notify those managers throughout the once that date comes that they have not approved their employees' plans. They notify the employees if they haven't created their plans by that date also. Um, so that's how we deal with that.
Awesome. Thank you, Ramon. That's it for now.
Okay. Okay. So let's look at the roundtable form that we did. As we had mentioned before, we have a peer review process of all the all the different forms. So I'm going to show you. There's a couple ways. There's basically two type people that go into this form. So we have the performance roundtable. Uh, the first part is to build these, right? We have to tell the form how we want to, who's going to be in the form. And then we assign a facilitator to the form. And then we build it. So as you can see, we have many different filters out here to be able to assign people to the form. For us, this is what we use the most. And these are different business areas. We can click search, gives you a list of all the employees, add the form, or add to the form, I should say. We can ignore that. So these are all the people that can be added to the form. Once I click submit, then it would be routed to this particular person who will be the one that will be facilitating this particular form. As you can see on here, you can see what the employee's information with department, job title, what they're the union, who their supervisor is, what location they're at, and what the rating they had for in the system at that time. So I'll show you the administration part of it. So this is one of our facilitators. I'm logged in as them. They come in and they go into search for evaluate a form. I think in our test system we only have one assigned to her. Yeah. So the form has a couple different sections. Obviously, it shows what form, what group they're in. Usually we titled it, we title it to whatever area we have, like engineering, right? It could be engineering. Who the facilitator is and what the years that they're evaluating. We have it set to 2022 right now. Then we have a rating summary. This rating summary grid is showing what the ratings are prior when the roundtable was built. Obviously, this roundtable has been altered a little bit already, and that's what this is showing. We have some thresholds that we have to meet, and the red is indicating that those thresholds are out of our guidance. And that's what this is. Down here, is all the employees with their original ratings. You can filter by, all these different filters that we have set. Let's do distribution planning. These are just discipline planning. When you filter by each of the areas here, this grid refreshes. If you remember a while ago, it showed 20% for excellence. Obviously, with this particular group, there is nobody with excellence. They discuss all the employees in these meetings, and if there comes to agreement that one of the employees needs to be changed, they select yes. They change the rating, and then we require that they mark each of these discussed as they're going through. Now, as you notice that this is now excellent, and remember, once we save this will refresh up here at the top. You can clear the filters and go back to, and now you can see where it refreshed to 22%. Once the roundtable is all done, and they've made any changes, they've marked everybody discussed, they would select submit, and then this would go to our learning and development team for final approval before it is read. Once it is approved by our learning and development team, whatever was entered in here gets written into their original plan that we showed earlier. So this one was a good, what their manager had rated them a good, they are now an excellent, so overwrite what was in the plan for excellent, with excellent. This was pretty simple, but it is extremely powerful for us. Took away having to create, like I said, 20 to 30 Excel spreadsheets, having to track down managers to go into the form and update their plan, all that kind of stuff. We got about 3 minutes, and that's essentially what I have to display today. Is let me go back to my PowerPoint real quick. See if we go anything. This just shows. Here's the performance roundtable sheet, and that is all I have. Do we have any questions?
There's nothing that I see yet in the queue. Seth, is there anything that you wanted to add from your involvement with these forums that maybe Ramon didn't touch on, or some of the stuff behind the scenes?
There's lots of stuff behind the scenes, but I don't know. Ramon did a really good job of going over everything. I mean, we didn't get into some of the things on the roundtable. One thing that you may not have noticed is that they had a requirement where sometimes they'll have roundtable meetings where they'll have certain managers in those meetings who actually are in the roundtable form. It's in the roundtable form grid itself. And so we built a facility to be able to hide those people for those meetings, and then they could unhide them when they are out of the room. And that was kind of a tricky little fun thing to do. So this
here's one here.
Yeah.
This is what he's talking about. This is the first line here, Ray V. Hill.
So it doesn't remove them from the form data. It just hides them on the current view for the moment, so that you can have that meeting with that person in the room, and then once they've left, you can decide to put them back in for that meeting or a different meeting that happens later.
Right.
We do have another question in the queue. Will this recording be provided after the webinar today? We will begin our annual performance review enhancements project this spring. The answer to that is yes. We'll make a point to it. That will go out probably sometime before the end of next week. We'll publish the recording of this webinar and send a link out to all the folks that registered.
And if anybody's interested, if you want to email me, set up a meeting to individually go over it, have questions for me, you can email me at ramon.trujillo@pnmresources.com, or get a hold of Scott. He has my email address, and send me an email directly, and I'm more than welcome to go over this with you in a little bit more in detail if you'd like.
One other question in there, Scott, is
Yeah.
any work center or dashboard where all statuses are displayed for the administrator to manage?
Yes, we do have. But matter of fact, we just started building that. We're kind of in the middle of our year-end process, um, where they're rating and the roundtables are ongoing right now. I just started it Monday, where I am building some just uh, pivot grids that are all displayed by the different business areas, what they're they have 15% excellence, 25%, whatever. Like I said, I just started that. It's pretty simple. It'll be done probably in the next couple of weeks.
It looks like there's a comment that David Luding made. Let me just read through this. We've been using time and labor since its initial release in version 7.51, and periodically we have to go and archive old T&L dynamic groups based on the employee ID number, and would like to have a process by which a no longer needed time and labor dynamic group can be deleted from the listing. We also have some that we have that were built wrong code, and of course we cannot update the code of the configuration. So we have a lot of bad codes that we had to update the description to do not use. Having this delivered process will allow the super user to keep the list clean and up to date when organizational changes occur, and it will make our CIO happy that our current custom delete page will now be supported. Oh, I'm sorry, David. Was there if you want, you can come off mute if there was something that you'd like to comment on. Let me see if I can do that. I think you can come off mute. Maybe not. If there was anything else that you want to comment on or add to that or ask, go ahead and post it. Um, Something to just emphasize is this is a really good example of a business process that was unique to PNM Resources. And after evaluating delivered PeopleSoft performance reviews, performance management, it was determined that that wasn't really going to work for them. So they went down the road of creating an eForms based solution that would allow for them to automate the process exactly the way that they wanted it to. There are a lot of different things that you can do with eForms, creating custom processes that are wholly unique, or using it to replace a delivered PeopleSoft application or module or process, or use it to augment or complement a delivered PeopleSoft process. So just as an FYI, there are a lot of different things that you can explore and use a tool like this to completely modernize your user experience. Anything else that folks have questions on? It looks like that is it in the queue. Oh, bad cut and paste. So that comment that David was making is moot. You guys can disregard that. But I think, let me go ahead and share a quick update here if I can pull this up. We've got some GTE Forms trainings planned in the upcoming months. If there are GTE Forms users on the line that are interested in advanced training, I'm going to bring this up and share my screen really quick, if I can really quick. All right. So these are some of the upcoming training offerings that we've got planned. These are relatively short webinar delivered trainings. I think they're about 4 hours long. So if there's anything here that looks of interest to you, by all means, go ahead and you can find links to register for these on our website in the customer portal. So for existing clients, that's accessible. There's a QR code that you can scan if you want to take advantage of our year-end sale, our Black Friday sale, for a discount off of any of the advanced training webinars. And with that, I think that we can, let me see if there's anything else in the queue. I think that's it. Fantastic. Well, I would like to take a moment to thank Ramon for sharing his expertise and PNM Resources solution with us. Thank you to Seth Norris as well for contributing. And we look forward to hopefully having you guys join us on future webinars. As I mentioned at the beginning, this is an event that we will plan to do each month, focusing on a particular client's solution or solutions. And we'll be rotating throughout PeopleSoft HCM, financials, as well as campus solutions. So keep an eye open for future announcements, and we look forward to seeing you in the future. Thank you very much. Have a great day.